Welcome to my channel Starwire Daily. Please share and subscribe and press the bell icon for new updates. The camera closes in on Kim Kardashian's face, tears streaming down her cheeks as she faces the man she once promised to love through sickness and health. Her voice trembles with a mixture of heartbreak and desperation as she tells Kanye West something that would send shockwaves through their already fractured relationship. Your personality was not like this a few years ago. This isn't just another celebrity drama, loves. This is the raw, unfiltered reality of what happens when mental health, fame, and family collide in the most public way possible. And now, for the first time ever, we're getting an unprecedented look behind the scenes of one of Hollywood's most explosive relationships through footage that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about Kim and Kanye. Welcome back to Starwire Daily, where we dive deep into the stories that matter most in Hollywood. I'm your host, and today we're breaking down the shocking new trailer for In Whose Name, the documentary that's already being called the most disturbing celebrity expose of the decade. But before we dive into the heartbreaking details, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell, because this story has layers that go deeper than anything we've covered before. For 6 years, an 18-year-old filmmaker named Nico Ballesteros had unprecedented access to Kanye West's inner circle. 6 years of filming, documenting over 3,000 hours of footage that captures everything from creative genius to complete mental breakdowns. What we're seeing in this trailer isn't a carefully crafted PR narrative. It's the raw, often uncomfortable truth about what happens when someone refuses to take their medication while the entire world watches. The trailer opens with Kanye's voice cutting through the silence like a knife. I'm off my meds for 5 months now. 5 months. Let that sink in for a moment. We're talking about someone who has been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, someone who has publicly struggled with mental health issues, making the conscious decision to stop taking medication that could help stabilize his condition. But here's where it gets even more intense. As Kanye makes this revelation, we see Kim's reaction, and it's not the composed, camera-ready Kim Kardashian we're used to seeing. This is a woman watching the father of her children spiral, a wife desperately trying to reach the man she married beneath all the chaos and controversy. The emotional weight of that moment is suffocating. You can hear the pain in Kim's voice as she responds to his declaration, trying to make him understand that this isn't who he used to be. It's a conversation that millions of families dealing with mental health issues have had behind closed doors, except this one is playing out for the entire world to see. What makes this documentary particularly devastating is the timing. This footage was captured during some of the most tumultuous periods of Kanye's public life. His presidential run, his controversial statements, his erratic behavior on social media. We're seeing the private moments that led to those public explosions, the conversations between Kim and Kanye that showed just how desperate the situation had become. In one particularly heart-wrenching scene, Kim attempts to calm Kanye down after he explodes with the words, "Never tell me I'm going to wake up one day and have nothing." The desperation in his voice is palpable, but what's even more striking is Kim's response. She tries to de-escalate, saying, "We can talk about that later, but..." Before Kanye cuts her off with "It ain't no but." This isn't just a celebrity tantrum caught on camera. This is a man in crisis, pushing away the people who love him most while fighting battles that exist primarily in his own mind. And Kim? She's caught in the crossfire, trying to protect their children while watching helplessly as the man she fell in love with disappears before her eyes. The documentary doesn't just focus on the medication revelation, though. It also shows Kanye breaking down in tears during one of his Sunday service spiritual gatherings back in 2019. These weren't just religious services. They were Kanye's attempt to find peace and purpose during some of his darkest moments. Seeing him vulnerable and crying in that setting adds another layer to the complexity of his mental health journey. But perhaps the most chilling moment in the trailer comes when Kanye makes a statement that will haunt anyone who watches it. "I would rather be dead than be on medication. Either they destroy me, or I destroy it." The raw honesty of that statement is both powerful and terrifying. It reveals someone who sees medication not as help, but as a threat to his identity, his creativity, his very essence. This perspective isn't uncommon among people with bipolar disorder, especially those in creative fields. Many artists and musicians have expressed similar fears about medication affecting their creative process. But when you're dealing with someone of Kanye's influence and platform, the consequences of that decision extend far beyond personal impact. The trailer also shows us Kanye's belief that medication is designed to control thinking. "They're killing our ability to think outside the box," he exclaims. This paranoid thinking, while concerning, also provides insight into his mental state during these filmed moments. It's the kind of statement that makes perfect sense to someone experiencing certain symptoms of bipolar disorder, but sounds alarming to those watching from the outside. What's particularly striking about this documentary is how it was made. Nico Ballesteros, the director, was just 18 years old when he began this 6-year journey documenting Kanye's life. Imagine being a teenager with access to one of the most controversial figures in entertainment, watching him navigate mental health crises, family drama, and public scandals. The producer, Simran A. Singh, describes it as a raw and often unsettling portrait, without commentary or conclusion. That last part is crucial, without commentary or conclusion. This isn't a documentary that's trying to tell you what to think about Kanye or Kim or their relationship. It's simply presenting the footage and letting viewers draw their own conclusions. In many ways, that makes it even more powerful and disturbing. The documentary comes at a time when both Kim and Kanye have moved on with their lives in very public ways. Kim has found love again, Kanye has remarried, and their children are growing up navigating the aftermath of their parents' very public divorce. But this footage takes us back to the moments when everything was falling apart, when Kim was still fighting for their marriage and Kanye was fighting against invisible enemies. What's particularly heartbreaking is seeing Kim's attempts to maintain some semblance of normalcy and stability. In the trailer, we see her trying to have rational conversations while Kanye becomes increasingly agitated and paranoid. It's a dynamic that anyone who has dealt with a loved one's mental health crisis will recognize. The desperate attempts to reason with someone who isn't operating from a place of reason. The timing of this documentary's release is also significant. We're now several years removed from the height of Kim and Kanye's relationship drama, which gives us the perspective to see these moments not just as celebrity gossip, but as a real family dealing with real crisis. The distance allows us to view Kim not as a reality TV star playing up drama for cameras, but as a wife and mother trying to protect her family while navigating an impossible situation. This footage also challenges some of the narratives that emerged during Kim and Kanye's divorce proceedings. While much of the public discourse focused on their differences in lifestyle, career priorities, and parenting philosophies, this documentary suggests that mental health was a much more significant factor than many realized. It shows a woman who wasn't just dealing with a difficult husband, but with someone who was actively refusing treatment for a serious mental health condition. The documentary is set to be released in theaters in 2025, and it's already generating significant controversy and conversation. Some mental health advocates are concerned about the ethics of filming someone during mental health crises, while others argue that it provides valuable insight into the realities of living with bipolar disorder. What's undeniable is that this documentary will force us to reckon with some uncomfortable questions about celebrity culture, mental health, and a responsibility we have to support people who are struggling, even when their behavior becomes problematic or harmful. The footage we've seen so far suggests that this documentary won't be an easy watch. It's not the glossy, carefully edited content we're used to seeing from the Kardashian West family. Instead, it appears to be an unflinching look at what happens when mental health issues, fame, and family pressure collide in the most public way possible. For Kim Kardashian, who has built her career on controlling her narrative and image, this documentary represents a complete loss of that control. We're seeing her at her most vulnerable, most desperate, most human. The tears we see in the trailer aren't performed for cameras. They're the genuine emotional response of someone watching the person they love self-destruct. The documentary also raises important questions about the role of medication in treating mental health conditions. While Kanye's decision to stop taking his medication clearly had devastating consequences for his family, his perspective on medication reflects concerns that many people with mental health conditions share. The fear that medication will change who you are fundamentally, that it will dim your creativity or alter your personality, is a real and valid concern that deserves thoughtful discussion. However, what the trailer seems to show is the real-world consequences of that decision when it comes to maintaining relationships and family stability. Kim's distress isn't just about Kanye's behavior. It's about watching someone she loves make choices that she believes are harmful to him and their family. As we wait for the full documentary to be released, one thing is clear. This footage will provide the most intimate look we've ever had into one of entertainment's most scrutinized relationships. It will likely be uncomfortable to watch, controversial in its implications, and emotionally devastating for everyone involved. But perhaps that's exactly what we need. In a culture that often treats celebrity mental health struggles as entertainment, this documentary might force us to confront the real human cost of untreated mental illness, not just for the person suffering, but for everyone who loves them. The trailer ends with more footage of Kanye's emotional breakdowns and Kim's attempts to provide stability, leaving viewers with a sense of impending tragedy. We know how this story ends, with divorce, custody battles, and two people trying to rebuild their lives apart. But seeing the intimate moments that led to that ending will likely change how we understand the relationship and its ultimate demise. This documentary promises to be more than just celebrity gossip. It's a case study in how mental health, fame, and family intersect in ways that can be both fascinating and devastating. Whether you're a fan of Kim Kardashian, Kanye West, or neither, this footage provides a window into struggles that millions of families face, just not usually with the entire world watching. So what do you think? Are you planning to watch In Whose Name when it's released? Do you think documenting someone's mental health struggles in this way is helpful or harmful? And after seeing Kim's tears in this trailer, has your perspective on their relationship and divorce changed? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this story fascinated you as much as it did me, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to StarWire Daily for more deep dives into the stories behind the headlines. We don't just report the news, we help you understand what it really means. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest content. And I'll see you in the next video where we'll continue exploring the complex world of celebrity culture and the real people behind the headlines.